My name is Mr. Dennis Kingsley, and I'm your math teacher. We are going to start off with most of the common thing, of course the basics, because we need to build a very good foundation before we move into most of all these topics that are difficult for students to get by. So we are starting today's class with LCM. So if you are having problem with LCM, whether LCM of numbers or LCM of algebraic expression, please, I will need you to pay attention as we proceed. So we have LCM as our topic. So after LCM, we are also going to deal with HCF. So let's start with LCM. LCM means the lowest common multiple. Okay, so because this channel is mostly for secondary school students, so I'm not going to go in details on the explanation of LCM. All I need to do here is to explain how you can be able to solve problem on LCM. Okay, of course, it's mathematics, so there are different range of methods of solving. So in this our class, we are going to use just a particular method in order for us to be able to move and be able to handle other topics that we have. So it's very simple how to do that. How do we get LCM? So let's take an example. Find the LCM of the following numbers. So let's divide our board. Let's take the first question here. Let's assume we have numbers that one number among them is a factor of the other number. Let's take, for example, 3 and 9. You can see that 3 is a factor of 9. Let's see if we take LCM of this kind of numbers, what are we going to have, or what kind of number or what kind of answer are we going to get? So let's see how that goes. Okay, solution 3, 9. Like I said before, this is a particular method. There are different methods of solving that, so we are just using a particular method. Now, how do we go by with our LCM? You use the factor of the two numbers to keep dividing. When you exhaust the factors, then you make use of the remaining number to divide. Okay? So factor of 3 and 9 will give you 3. So you use 3 to divide. You divide this one, this will give you 1. You divide this one, this will give you 3. Like I said, after using the factor, okay, and you still have a number that is remaining, which is no longer a factor, so you can just use that number to divide. So we cannot go with 1 because 1 will still give you back your 1 and 3. So you have to go with what? 3. So when you go with 3, you have what? 1 and 1. So our answer is the product of our numbers that we have used to divide. Okay? Which is 3 and 3. So that will give us 3 times 3, which is equals to what? 9. So the LCM of 3 and 9 is equals to what? 9. That is, anytime you have two numbers and you're looking for the LCM, and one number is a factor of the other number, that is the LCM is the bigger number. What does that mean? It means that LCM, therefore, LCM of 2 and 8 is what? 8. Because 8 is the what? Is the bigger number. The LCM of 4 and 12 is what? 12, because 4 is a factor of what? 12, and 12 is the bigger number. The LCM of 3 and 21 is 21. Okay, that is because 21 is a bigger number and 3 is a factor of 21. So let us look at another example where we have two numbers that does not have any common factor. When we have two numbers that does not have any common factor. So our question B, let's look at LCM of 5 and 6. So we know that 5 and 6 does not have any common factor. Okay, 5 and 6 does not have any common factor. So let's see what we have. 5, 6. Okay, 5 and 6. Since there is no common factor, all you need to do is to divide the numbers that can be able to divide. Use a number that can be able to divide each of the numbers. Okay, 5 can divide this, so that will give me 1. I will still get 5 and 6. And 6 can divide 6 here, so that will give me 1. I will get 1 here. So that will give me what? 6. 5 times 6, which is equals to 30. So what does that tell us? What it's saying here is that when you are looking for LCM of two numbers that does not have any common factor, when you are looking for LCM of two numbers that does not have any common factor, that the LCM is the product of the two numbers. Okay, let me repeat that. When you are looking for LCM of two numbers that does not have any common factor, that the LCM is the product of the two numbers. So what does that mean? Therefore, LCM of 5 and 4 will give you 5 times 4, which is equals to what? 20. LCM of let's say 30 and let's say 7, that will give you 30 times 7, that will give you 210. Okay, so remember the first one is that when you're looking for two LCM of two numbers where one of the number is a factor of the other, that the LCM is the bigger number. Okay, and the second one now is that when you are looking for LCM of two numbers that does not have any factor, any common factor, that the LCM is the product of the two numbers. Okay, let's go to the third type. Third type now is that yes, they have a common factor. Okay, they have a common factor, but they are not like this and they are not like this. Okay, I will say is the combination of the two. So let's look at that as C. Okay, so if I look at that as C, I will say 12 and 18. Okay, 12 and 18. Yes, they have common factor. Okay, they have common factor, but this one is not a factor of this. Okay, in such case, what do we do? So let's have our solution. I will have my 12 and I'll have my what? 18. So I will start off with dividing by the common factor. Okay, when I have exhausted the common factor, I will just go and do what I have done here. Okay, so when I have exhausted my common factor, I will go and do what I have done here. So let's try that. The common factor of 2 and 12 and 18 will give us 2. 2 is a common factor, so let's start with that. So 2 here will give us 6, 2 here will give us what? 9. There's still another common factor. Another common factor between them is what? I guess you are right, okay? Is 3. 3 is a common factor of 6 and 3 is also a common factor of what? 9. Okay, so we have 3 here, to have 2 and what? 3. So you can now see that 2 and 3 does not have any common factor, which have given us a number of this nature. Okay, which have given us a number of this nature. So what are we going to do? The same thing we have done here. Use 2 to divide the first one and use 3 to divide the second one. Okay, so our LCM will give us 2 times 3 times 2 times 3. Okay, of course, that will give you 6 times 6. That's these 2 here will give us 6, these 2 here will give us 6. That will give us 36. So the LCM of 12 and 18 will give us what? 36. Okay, the LCM of 12 and 18 will give us what? 36. Are we good? Okay, so let us look at HCF. Okay, let us look at HCF. You can see what we have been doing here, that you keep dividing till you get 1 on both sides of the numbers. In HCF, we don't do that. Okay, in HCF, we only divide by the common factor. When we have exhausted our common factor, that is where we stop dividing. Okay, so let us look at that. Of course, it's actually very simple, far more simpler. Okay, so let us look at HCF. Of course, we all know that HCF means highest common factor. Okay, highest common factor. So let's take an example. Find the HCF of 18 and 24. HCF of what? 18 and 24. Like I said, in LCM, you keep dividing till you get 1 on both sides of the numbers. Okay, on both sides of the numbers. But in HCF, immediately you get exhausted with the common factor. That is where you actually stop. Okay, you stop right there because you cannot move further. You are looking for the highest common factor. We did all this in our elementary mathematics. I'm just teaching all this again, okay, for the secondary school students, in order for them to be able to recall, okay, most of these things, because most times we apply all this in more advanced mathematics or in most of the secondary school mathematics. So let us look at, finish up this example. So solution here, so we have 18 and we have what? 24. Now when you divide, of course it's not always long as this, because immediately you get exhausted with the common factors. That is actually where you stop. So when you use 2 to divide here, 2 is the common factor of these 2. I have 9 and I have what? 12. Okay, so when you use 2 to divide 18, you get 9. When you use 2 to divide 24, you get 12. Okay, so the next thing to do is to look for another common factor between 9 and 12. And another common factor between 9 and 12 is what? 3. So use 3 to divide this, you get 3. And use 3 to divide this, you get 4. You can see that the next number we have, which is 3 and 4, does not have any common factor. So that is where we have ended our division, because you cannot go further. You are looking for common factor. So the highest common factor there will give us 2 times 3, which is equals to what? 6. Okay, so that's the highest common factor. So you can see that highest common factor is far more simpler to deal with than the lowest common multiple. Okay, lowest common multiple. So we are going to end our video here.